53,300 tickets sold for this evening. Here, our trainer is to give his analysis of the game, and everybody who wants to follow this in English can follow along with the consecutive interpreting. John, go ahead. Well, in the first place, I think it was a fantastic atmosphere this evening in the stadium, because you really felt ahead of the game that it was this European atmosphere for this game. And so we were really, the fans were behind us as one big block. And I think it was a really good synergy with the fans during the entire game, and that we played a really good game with a lot of discipline against a really good team. We gave away very few chances, and we didn't really create that much, to be honest, but I mean, I do think that we have the better chances. 0-0, so yeah, that says enough. I can't really say too much about it. I mean, we didn't score, but we did have the chances of Taylor and Brobbey in the first half. The header of Akpan, where he only just didn't time it well enough, and he did break through as well. We had a one-on-one with the keeper, their goalkeeper, but yeah, I do think the performance in its entirety, also defensively, was very good. We really stayed very patient as a team. Unfortunately, it didn't result in a victory for us, and it will be a very interesting return game against Aston Villa. That was my analysis. Thank you. Are there any questions? Jeroen, go ahead. Hi, John. So, while reflecting on the game ahead of the match, you were thought to be chanceless, but this evening you actually were on top of the game. And is it hard for you? How do you feel? Are you glad with how it went, or what do you think? Well, I just thought as a whole that we played really well as a team, but we still have one more match to go, so I can't really feel that happy, because in the competition against PSV, for example, we played 1-1, and that's a different kind of feeling, because the other half of this series of games against Aston Villa, we still have to play that half. But yeah, we have sort of finished the first half of these two games. Do you feel more tranquil while sitting on the bench? You didn't concede any goals. Well, I think you as well, right? I mean, I think everybody is more chilled out when we don't concede anything. I mean, I see that it stands well defensively. I see that everything is compact, and at the right moments we pressure our opponents. But I also do see that we pressure them when the keeper has the ball. But we have many, many times during the game when we fall back, as we did today against Aston Villa. We do not let them entice us to pressure too quickly, or to give them space behind us. We waited for their keeper to make his own decisions. We were patient. Because if you're too quickly and they are able to play underneath, to play out of your pressure, they have a lot of quickness up front as well. So that's very, very dangerous. So I did think we did that really well. So in football, it's very often chicken and egg, right? Are we that good or are they that bad? I mean, it's hard, isn't it? How do you look at Aston Villa? Had you expected them to come out more strongly this evening? Well, I do think that everybody thought, as you said just now, that Aston Villa was the favourite to win tonight. But we do know that if we play well, I mean, we have very talented guys, right? And tonight's evening, there are other things that come out together with the fans in Europe, It's a different atmosphere, and so that in a way you can sort of become more than you are. But it also goes to show to our fans this is the level we can reach, and this is where we have to aim for. And so this is one that we should be able to consistently achieve, this level. But this is something this team has to work on, obviously. So are you looking for balance in specific phases of the game to take more chances, just also to impose some things or to maybe achieve some goals? Well, I mean, I do think we took those chances with bringing in Akpan, which did result in two big chances for us. I mean, the header he missed it, but also when he broke through. So yeah, I do think that we did take our chances. But if you do that too early during the game, I do think that the balance, as I was speaking about before, that the balance might fall away, so to speak. So it's always very hard to take your chances and to say when exactly you take those chances. But I do think that we did take it at the right moment. They even got their red card, but then we also conceded the red card, unfortunately. Are you angry about that Gooijer took that risk and that he got this red card? Because you felt the energy of this stadium. You could really have taken something this evening, but then you conceded that red card, right? Well, I mean, I do think it's a learning moment for Gooijer. I think he was a bit tired maybe, that he still chose to make that tackle, a sort of desperation tackle, which obviously I wouldn't call that a directly red card. I mean, just too harsh. But he had already given a yellow card and already a red card to Aston Villa, so I think it was a sum in the mind of the referee. So yeah, it's a shame. Well, next week you still have everything to play for, right? Yeah, as I told you, this was the first half. So yeah, looking forward to next week. John, good evening. What feeling is the main feeling this evening? Do you feel disappointed that you didn't win, or are you proud of your team? Well, I'm as I told you, very, very content with how my team put into practice what we have been discussing. And that we didn't win at the end of it, I mean, that is the most important thing, obviously. But if you look at the whole picture, and ahead of the game as well, about our game plan and what people have been writing about us and Aston Villa as well. And obviously, I know really well that Aston Villa is a really, really good team in the Premier League as well. If you look at all these factors, I do think that we can be content. I can be content. And looking back on this game and at what my players achieved this evening. So I can only give them a big compliment to my players. It's a shame that they didn't win, obviously. If you look at these past 2 games against Utrecht as well, doesn't it feel like a big shame that you didn't start with playing with 5 defenders a lot more early? Because you've been playing so well so far. No, I wouldn't say so. Because we made this decision because a couple of players fell out. Berghuis and Bergwijn, for example. So this was the right moment to do it and to put it into practice with 5 defenders. Also, while knowing fully well that it might not have worked, but it did work, and that's only good for the players who will come back in the future, for them to adapt to this system, which is possible, as I said before. I've heard many people talking about that Aston Villa didn't start with specific players, but neither did we. We didn't start with very big players as well. Very surprised by Kaplan with how easily he can follow along with the tempo of the game. Well, yeah, I have to say that he played really strongly this evening. Kaplan, he uses just his tranquility and his confidence on the ball as well, but also his mentality while engaging in the duels. He wants to win. He throws himself in front of the ball, and he really shows this. He affects other players with this atmosphere as well. I mean, the other defenders as well, and Hato and Wrench, the 3 of them have played really strongly too this evening. Aston Villa was the big favourite for this game. How do you look at their chances right now? Well, I do think that with this game in the back of their minds, they will approach the return game in a different way. I don't say that they have been underestimating us, but they do know how we did engage the game and what our game plan was, and obviously they will try to find other approaches to the game next week. For us, it's the most important thing for us that we play well against Fortuna Sittard and win on Sunday. Just one more question about Kaplan, because he seemed the personal defender of Ollie Watkins this evening. What was the plan behind that? Well, I wouldn't say the personal defender of Ollie Watkins, but he just happened to stand next to him, and then he'll be playing against him. It's simple as it is. As I told you, Hato, Wrench and Kaplan did it really well this evening, the 3 of them. And if you look at their age, their combined age, and that this is Kaplan's 2nd game in the starting 11. If you look at all these things, then it's a really, really big and good game he played. You told us about his qualities on the ball while in possession, but how can he really help you in possession while in the build-up? Well, he stays tranquil. He plays the ball with the right speed as well when he passes it. And apart from that, he really looks to the front as well, in between the lines where to pass. But he can also look over the lines, behind the final line of the defensive line of our opponents. Because of that, we scored against Utrecht. And this evening as well, there were some good moments during which he made the right decisions while staying calm at the ball. on the ball and just made really, really quick decisions, either between the lines or behind their final line. Thank you. Congratulations with this draw. Looking forward to Fortuna Sittard. Will you not be starting with your best players against them on Sunday? Well, it's too early to say. We'll see tomorrow after the training. I mean, is it among your options to give some rest to some players? Well, I wouldn't say that I want to give them rest. I mean, you want to play with... it would only be good if you can start with the same starting 11. But obviously, Rensch will not be playing against Fortuna Sittard. So we'll only have to see which players came out well tomorrow. That's all. Are you proud of your players that they managed to draw against the number 4 of the Premier League? Well, as I told you right now, is that I just give them big compliments for what they have shown this evening. Flores, Johnny? Hi, John. You told us about the synergy between the spectators and the players. It was amazing. Isn't this also... It doesn't go to show to your players that if they put this much energy into their play, that it really boosts the public as well? Well, I have explained this to the players, but it's always different when playing in Europe than playing in Dutch competition. European games seem to give us an extra boost always, and this goes to show that our guys can really compete against the best some of the players from the best competition on earth, which is the Premier League. And so this, all these points just puts them to a higher level. It all comes together. And the same goes for athletics, during Olympic Games or World Cups, the sprinters tend to make their world records. So yeah. So it's up to us to show this level of play in the Dutch competition as well, and to keep that consistently. Last question. Kaplan as well as Manswerk seem to really play with a lot of bravura in their game. Is it maybe because they didn't really live the very, very bad times you have been experiencing in Ajax, because they came in later? That could be the case. Manswerk is very strong. He had a very, very bad first game, and he had an injury. And after that, he saw that it didn't go too well. And so maybe that really made him stronger as well and helped him. And he didn't make him feel any pressure. And you could see that Manswerk really played really well, because he has been playing in European leagues as well in his previous club. Schutalo could not play. Schutalo can play on Sunday, right? Yes, he can. And Berghuis cannot play. Steven Berghuis, as far as I know, with 2 more days for him to become more fit and to train. Hopefully he can become better during these 2 days, so he might be able to play against Fortuna Sittard on Sunday, but we'll have to see. And Bergwijn, he cannot. No, thank you. And Rensch will not be playing. He has received a red card. John, good evening. Brian Brobbey had a very, very big chance, but because he was pushed, and obviously he was really, really defended really harshly upon. What do you think about his qualities? I mean, he works really, really hard, but I do think all my players work really hard. But his way of working is that he has to hunt a lot for the ball up front, and that really has to fight against defensive central defenders. So, yeah, once he receives the ball, he really has to fight for it. Also, when going deep behind the defensive line. So, yeah, his whole playing style is very, very... he's a hard worker, Brian Brobbey, in his playing style. But the same goes for the small Christian Linson, who works really hard. So I wouldn't make any differences in Brian Brobbey being the hardest worker. Isn't it? I do think that Brobbey received a lot of bad calls from the referee, that he doesn't seem to be allowed to make any fouls, whereas he's being made a lot of fouls upon. How do you look at this? Yeah, I do think that this is something that comes back and again, that referees do choose for the defender rather than for the attacker, unfortunately. Good evening. You did say that Schutalo will be able to play against Fortuna, but these past games without Schutalo, you didn't concede any goals. So don't you think you'll be playing with this trio defensively? Impossible, because Rentsch has a red card, so he cannot play against Fortuna. Rentsch received a domestic red card. Final question about Kaplan. What does he bring to this team, according to you? Well, I've just mentioned it just now. On the ball in possession, he's very good defensively as well. I could repeat myself, but I've already done so yeah. Willem, another question from you. Congratulations, John. I was a bit afraid that this system of 5 defenders was sort of the only road left, but you do seem to be very enthusiastic, because even when Bergwijn and Berghuis come back, you will be able to play with this system, right? Isn't that just good? So this is a serious plan, right? To still keep this system as it is and not play 4-3-3. Yes, that is the plan. Yes, that's the idea. All right, cool, I wanted to know that. So you're going to stick to 5 defenders. Any other questions? Here at the second row, thank you. John. Een vraag in het Engels, als je het niet erg vindt. Zou je een beetje kunnen praten over zowel Jordan Henderson als wat hij heeft gebracht aan Ajax aan deze wedstrijd sinds hij hier kwam? Hij is echt een ontzettend professionele speler. Hij is echt een leider. Ik denk dat je kunt zien op het veld. En de jongens rondom hem, die voelen dat ook, dat hij een leider is. En die accepteren dat ook van hem. Dus hij helpt de ploeg ontzettend. Op deze manier. Natuurlijk heeft hij het lastig gehad in het begin. Omdat hij uit Saudi-Arabië hier naartoe kwam. En weinig heeft gespeeld. En een maand lang niet heeft gespeeld. En niet zo gelukkig was. Maar hij heeft meteen zijn draai gevonden. Hier in Amsterdam. Hij heeft ook door de trainer te spelen goed gedaan. Maar hij was niet zo blij dat hij in de eerste wedstrijden goede resultaten behaalde. Maar nu zie je duidelijk dat hij heel belangrijk voor ons is. En niet alleen op het veld, maar ook van het veld af spreekt hij met ons over een heleboel dingen die beter kunnen. En die ook qua atmosfeer verbeterd zouden kunnen worden. En hij gidst daar in de spelers ook echt. Mensen twijfelen in Engeland over of hij nog voor het Engelse nationale ploeg zou kunnen spelen. Het is uiteraard niet jouw verantwoordelijkheid om daarover te beslissen. Maar denk je dat hij nog steeds op dat niveau goed zou kunnen spelen? Nou ja, als je hem vandaag ziet spelen en in de wedstrijd tegen PSV, dat 2 hele grote wedstrijden zijn, dan ja, natuurlijk denk ik dat. En ik denk dat Southgate dat heel goed weet, wat hij van Jordan Henderson kan krijgen. Dankjewel. Thank you all very much. Till next time.